Cuckoo! Hi, this is not Isabel and Kim today. It's actually just Kim because Isabel's actually in the hospital having her baby. So we're so excited. And obviously we will keep you posted on the good news. So we are excited to be here today. I am going to be continuing our podcast, at least for the time being until Isabel is back. And we have heard from a lot of our listeners that it would be great. Isabel and I have talked a lot about our perspective as Americans living in France, but we have heard from you guys that it would be actually really helpful to hear from a French person who lives in France, born and raised in France, and has also lived in the US about her perspective as well. So I'm going to be doing an episode today, which I will get to, around how French really perceive Americans and other foreigners. And then I'm going to be coming back also with a mini series of about 5 episodes where I will interview different women who are from all over the world about how they ended up in France.
Nice.
And they will kind of talk about their perspective, what they found challenging, what they found interesting, and what kind of pushed them over the edge to make the big move. So that will be coming. So stay tuned for that. I will also be posting this all on at cuckoo.pod. So please definitely subscribe and follow us on that as well. So I'm really happy today to be here. This is Christine. She was born and raised in France, and I've had the pleasure of getting to know her as my French tutor. And as you guys know from the past few seasons, if you've been listening, my French has been one of the most challenging things about living here, and also something that I have been really trying to make an effort to get better. So thanks to Christine, I have been hopefully making some more progress on that. But Christine used to work, as I mentioned, in the US in the fashion business, and as a French teacher, and she's lived in Paris a long time. And now she has her own company where she's helping expats get acclimated to France. So bienvenue. Welcome, Christine.
Merci.
Do you want to give a little intro of yourself?
Sure.
Okay.
So first of all, Kim, I'm so excited to be here with you and share my perspective on that, talk about the American, because I really, really do love the good energy of American people. And so who I am, I'm Christine Cornetti, and very proud and happy to be here. I was born in Nice, south of France. Yes. Used to live in Paris for about 30 years. Then I moved back in 2014, I moved to Aix-en Provence, because I needed the sun.
Yes.
and I must say, and then I lived as 7 years in New York.
Yes.
And I was teaching at Columbia University. I used to work at the French department there. And really this experience made me who I am now.
That's
it
great.
Really impacted my life. Voilà.
Yes.
And now I teach French and I
Yes,
run
it's
my
great.
own
And you
business.
actually used to teach my son French at his school. So very cool. We have a special relationship with Christine. So we're happy to have her.
And there is one thing I must say. I have a great student here. She's
I don't know.
you are
Thank
dedicated. You're really good. You're a fast learner. So I really appreciate it. It's a joy to have you.
Thank you.
My
Merci.
clients.
Christine comes over every week and she makes me speak French, even when I'm so tempted to tell her something in English. So I very much appreciate it. But yes,
my pleasure.
So we are excited today. We're going to talk about a few topics. So we're going to talk about cultural differences that we notice, that Christine notices she's going to focus primarily on Americans, but I think it's generally relatable to any kind of person that isn't French that moves here or lives here. We are then going to talk a little bit about her own kind of observations and what she appreciates about both cultures. We're going to give a few kind of tips if you visit France or if you are moving to France. And then we are also just going to talk about some things that, we just words of advice in general. And then we'll kind of wrap it at that. So we're excited. I think it would be good. Maybe we start with some of the biggest cultural differences you observe between Americans and the French.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would say really for me, the striking experience and the strongest different culture is the positive thinking.
Ah, interesting.
American people, as a French person living there, what was amazing to me and I really appreciated, it's the big smile, the excitement, being happy and seeing always the glass half full, even full, completely full. So that really is something important. It's a big different culture difference.
Okay, and what are the French like that you observe or that you are a part of?
Yeah, French people, we are a little bit more pessimistic and more low-key. Americans are really entrepreneur and risk taker. In French, it's
a little more reserved.
Yeah, reserved. Yes. It's a bit different.
You know, I've noticed that I used to think when I walked into somewhere, it was how I was dressed that people assumed I was American. And then somebody told me, no, it's because you're smiling at people and you smile when you don't know someone. And I said, isn't that just being nice? And it's like not in France. Yeah. So that's probably one of the biggest ways, I guess, Americans
definitely
stand out here.
Exactly. As a social interaction, yes. Definitely. You have I always say that Americans, they have big white teeth and they show them and it's great, but it's true for French people. It's a bit like, ooh, why are they so happy?
Very interesting. And what about, so you've worked in both the US and, well, in Paris and Aix. So tell me a little bit about like differences in work perspectives.
For Paris, Aix, or
why don't we start with the US versus France definitely. In general?
Yeah. So the huge difference also there is the balance. In France, we are more balanced work-wise. There's the work and there is private life, and we holidays are sacred. It's very important. In the US, it's more work. Totally fine to be very involved in that, and so. Quality of life is more balanced here.
And isn't the French work week like 35 hours? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And do people stick to that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Depend on the job, of course, but yes, it's very important. And French people are very attached to the really strong labor law. So the employee is very protected, and we also, as you know, recently we strike a lot, we protest. Yes, we have a civic engagement. Yes. We're really into that. So for the best and the worst. Yeah, and I must say, when I lived in New York, one thing that surprised me a lot during 7 years. No 1 day of subway strike. Oh no! Because subway, when you live in Paris and you're like, okay.
Voilà. The subways just stop, right? Because there's a strike.
Stop, and that's why in Paris I used to live near my job.
Oh, so you could just walk.
The bike. So there is a really strong, a difference now in Paris because you can ride your bike everywhere.
Oh yes, versus relying on subways.
In 10 years, the city totally switched to the bike.
Yes, the bike lanes. You see that in Paris everywhere. Exactly. It seems a bit dangerous to me.
Why? Yeah, that's true. But why is because a strike.
Interesting. Okay, I wasn't.
It's a nightmare. Yes. When you depend, you rely on the public transportation in Paris can be a nightmare.
Okay. And you talked about holidays being sacred. Can you talk a little bit about what that means? Like no work on holidays.
No work on holidays. Forget about it. It's what we call un mois à gruyère. It's like a month with holes, meaning we have, I think, 4 holidays in May.
And we do to that.
What we call les ponts. Pont meaning a bridge.
Yes.
So you have 1 day off. Let's say it's a Thursday. So of course Thursday is off. Then Friday is off. And we do like 4 days vacation. And when I was in Columbia University, the first year I arrived, it was Thanksgiving. And my colleagues say, okay, bye, have a nice holidays. And I was like, there is holidays at the moment? And they say, yeah, it's Thanksgiving. I say, yeah, for Thanksgiving, it's only 4 days. Yeah, it's holidays. And for me, it was just a bridge.
Oh, it's just a bridge. Yeah, because Thanksgiving's always on a Thursday.
Exactly.
And then actually most people, depending on where you work, I used to work in retail, and you never take that Friday off because it's Black Friday. And so you wouldn't even get the quote unquote bridge because it's you can take off that Thanksgiving, but then you really need to be working on Black Friday because it's a huge retail holiday. So, but yes, I was telling one of actually my sister about the bridge in France, and she was like, That's so cool. I wish they would do that. Like if a holiday, for instance, Rosh Hashanah just happened and that was on Tuesday, but my sister had to go to work Monday, the kids had school, and then they could take Tuesday off, but then back. So anyways, I love the bridge.
And another month, don't expect to do any business, it's August.
August and May.
That,
well, yes,
August
and May.
Vanish. We vanish.
And they put, when we first moved here, we just thought it was interesting. Like all the restaurants or boutiques would put, gone for summer holidays. Yes. And it's not like it's not like a few days. It's like the months, it would be like August 1st through like August 31st or something, just very long. So
true.
anyways.
Very, very long.
Yes. But I think that's lovely. It's like I've noticed at least like a lot better quality of life. And I think that makes a lot of like, just easier to spend time with friends or family and not so rushed and stressful.
Exactly. There is a balance.
Yes, for sure. Okay. Anything else? Let's talk about clothing, style, because I've noticed that's been a very big difference. And I think probably even Paris, Aix are different styles as well that I'd love to hear your perspective on. And maybe we start actually with American style that you've observed versus French style? So
definitely American people are more into comfort, to be comfortable. Yes. That's striking. And in France, we don't, like wearing, if you wear like a sweater, jogging, how do you call those?
Like workout pants.
Pants and sneakers, that's to go to the gym.
Yes.
Only the gym. You wear that, you come back home. But you will never go around,
rarely
do your grocery or shopping in
that workout outfit. Yeah.
No. You close properly.
You dress properly.
Yeah, dress properly. It's how we are. And of course, American people, I notice you need to be, you're relaxed, you're comfortable. And definitely there is a difference.
Yes. It's interesting. I went to a Pilates class. I think I was telling you this in French. So let me know if it didn't make sense. But all of the women came in regular, like pretty dresses and skirts and looked great to come to the class. And I made the mistake, because it was only a 5-minute walk from my house, that I showed up in my workout clothes. And then the woman told me, that's where you go change. And I said, but I'm already in the outfit. But all the other women, I went in there because I didn't know what to do. And they were all changing into their workout clothes. And then after the class, I was ready to just go home in my workout clothes. Nope. Everyone went back in, showered, got ready, and put their clothes back on to go outside. And I was thinking, everyone looks a lot better, but this is a lot more work. Maybe that's more an American perspective.
Yeah, and also what's interesting when you say that, it's also American are more focused on efficiency.
Yes.
Time counts. We're more relaxed about time.
Yes,
so,
which is actually a good thing, because of the reason when I lived in the U.S., like if I drop my child off at school and then I would go to the gym, go to the grocery store, then work from home, then, all in the same clothes. But it was just about, efficiency.
No, you can even change clothes during the day according to what appointment you have.
That's normal. Yeah, you might change a few times a day.
It's part of the, at least for, definitely.
Okay,
you don't do one thing. And also pajamas, I've noticed.
Oh, yeah.
The kids, you wear pajamas just to sleep at night, and then morning you dress up your kids. Even kids, you would
never have them wear pajamas outside. Yeah. Okay, that's very interesting. What do you notice about Paris versus Aix?
Paris versus Aix, there is a difference, or versus outside Paris, I would say. Paris, we're more aware, more conscious of fashion, and also interesting in Paris, according to the arrondissement where you go, the district of Paris, it's not the same style.
Oh, interesting.
Really, it's striking how from, like, let's say the 10th and 11th arrondissement, you have a certain style, and the 16th arrondissement, totally more bourgeois style. It's like you really feel sometimes you want to change over according to the arrondissement.
Really?
Oh, yeah. You'll observe there is a different way of dressing in different
That's very
Paris.
Interesting.
And in Aix, it's still it's a city with a more, it's a bourgeois look, and it could be different, like southwest of France and southeast. you have different styles. It's a bit like I would associate to architecture.
Oh, interesting.
In the US, West Coast, East Coast, same architecture.
Yes.
You know, in France, every different part of France has its own architecture. And I do this association now talking to you,
yes.
But I say with the clothes style, the dress style, it's also that there's subtleties there.
That's so interesting. So just for those of you who are new to our podcast, Aix-en Provence is about 20 minutes from Marseille, which would be the biggest city. And we're about a 3-hour train ride, fast train to Paris. But I sometimes compare living in Aix to sort of like living in the southern part of the United States. A lot of like the dress reminds me of Charleston, South Carolina. And Paris to me is like a more elevated version of New York style. And even I think a little bit, tell me if you notice this, because you've lived in a lot of different arrondissements or neighborhoods of New York, like the style downtown, below 14th Street is like very different than the style uptown.
Upper East Side, Upper West Side. Exactly.
Okay, kind of similar.
Yeah, kind of similar.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay,
definitely.
very, very cool. What about one thing I noticed a lot, this is interesting, but scarves. And I noticed like you came in this morning in a scarf, but then, and men wear a lot of scarves here. What is a scarf something you wear all day? Or is it like you thought about a scarf today because the weather's a little bit chillier, we're starting to feel fall? Like how is the scarf perceived?
In fact, I would say it's both.
Okay.
It can be really an accessoire, like accessory.
Accessory, okay.
It's there, it's part of your outfit and you keep it all day long, like a tiny scarf. Or for men, like we call that a lavalière, for example.
Okay.
Or it's, I know I like, specifically I like a scarf because you can have like a sort of neutral outfit and the scarf will change everything. You can, like a black sweater, the day after another day you put it, but according to the scarf, it can really make a difference. So I never noticed that you will perceive scarves as a French
Very
touch.
French.
Okay. It's part of, I never noticed that.
That's
and I know
interesting.
myself, I'm really into scarves. Also because I am, to protect my throat and also to have it really changed an outfit.
That's so cool. I got into scarves more when I moved here.
In fact, accessoires are quite important.
Okay.
Because in France, we have more, compared to Italian people, for example, who are more in color, we wear not so many colors, like 2, 3 maximum.
Okay.
And Paris is really into black or brown or beige.
Okay.
And then the accessoire will change everything.
Okay. Yeah. An accessoire is like the accessory.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So that
like
would be like a scarf.
A scarf.
Or what about jewelry?
Handbag, jewelry.
Oh, handbag, shoes.
That will make the touch.
Okay.
You see?
I'm curious. Also, one other thing in New York. So this woman once told me, I was working in fashion, and she's like, your shoes and your handbag matter more than the clothes, actually. And I said, that's really interesting. She's like, just always buy nice shoes and carry a nice handbag, and probably sunglasses I'd throw in here for sure. Because I see
with the sun,
sun here, I see like a lot of beautiful sunglasses.
Yeah.
So,
and that's a difference between Paris and Aix also. In Paris, you don't wear your sunglasses all year long. Here
it's
you
raining.
have to. I do wear my sunglasses all year long.
Yeah, I do too, actually.
Even in the winter, because it's quite bright and it's an accessory.
Yes.
It's really
it's meant to be a bit of a statement.
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
I like it. Very, very cool. Okay, we've talked a lot about this on the podcast, but food, meals, like what are sort of the biggest observations of differences you've had like in the US, France, like we've talked a bit, as you know, about the goûter, the long lunches. So just curious.
I would say the size.
The size, the portion size.
Portion size. That what amazed me when I arrived in the US. Even when I was a student, I did some part of my study there for a short time. And it's the size of the plate, size of the ice cream. There is a very nice ice cream place in Paris. And they serve like tiny little delicious ice cream.
She's holding up for those of you who aren't watching. It's basically like a quarter of it, like a size in the US.
Tiny ice cream. And over there, quality counts. It's really more about quality than quantity in France. And in the US, it's quantity.
Yes.
You feel happy if you have a huge plate or whatever it's inside your plate. It's okay. In France, it's small but very good.
delicious.
Yeah, that's, I would say, the size, the portions.
Okay,
are
portion
really
size
different.
for sure.
And then, of course, very long meal. Be prepared to sit at the table. More structured meal also. And even now, although we take a lot from the American way of life being very practical, you know, even now, a meal in a French family will be you sit at the table, you eat the same, at least the main course.
Yes.
It's the same for everyone. And we do sit, we do talk.
Yes.
It's family gathering. Sunday is a big, huge meal, family or friend, but mainly family. So it's very important to sit, to eat, to interact.
And you put your phones away.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that the difference.
Even at the restaurant.
I was going to say, it's very rude, right?
Very
Tell me
rude.
about that.
Very rude. You don't keep, you put your phone away, you're more focused. Although we tend also to be too much on our phone, but it is rude. You're with someone, you put your phone down, and you're not always, it is rude.
Yes. A French mom friend of mine told me it's almost like if you have your phone out at a restaurant that you're telling that person you're with that whatever's going on their phone is more important than the person in front of you.
Because in the US,
everyone's on their phones all the time. And I think it's very normal for if you have children at a restaurant to hand them an iPad or a phone. Oh my God. Your reaction was shocking.
Oh, yeah.
And I've never seen when we moved here. I mean, we're guilty of it for sure in the US. And when I moved here, I started to look around. My children at the time were only 4 and 6. And so you could argue they probably shouldn't have been on screens anyways. But I looked around thinking, why is there not a single child like has an iPad? They're sitting here for hours. And then I realized like it's actually very cool because a lot of restaurants will hand out like coloring and like pen, those cute colored pencils and drawing. And then I've like just learned like it's acceptable to bring little things to play with, like at a restaurant for children.
You'll have your little
and no one seems to judge. Like the other day, a waiter played with my daughter's little Barbie doll and was like, kind of making a joke of it. And so that seems acceptable, but not the like screen iPad.
No. Really, we don't do that. Yes. People do, but it's not part.
It's interesting. So just one thing, I think if you're visiting France or moving, you might want to start to train your child off of that. Yeah. Okay. Kind of an interesting topic also that you and I were discussing was money and like perceptions of money, how people talk about it or don't talk about it, saving versus not saving. Could you dive into that a bit? Okay.
Definitely. That's another really big difference between our two countries and two cultures. In France, money is a bit taboo.
Okay.
In the US, you're very forward about it. You talk about your salary. Even I could go to a party. Oh, what do you do? Oh, how much you earn? Totally normal. Wow. Oh, yeah. And the first time someone asked me like my salary, I was like, oh my God, you're not hiring me. In France, you talk money about with your employer when you're hiring someone. Okay. That's where you talk money. And even it's not at the first meeting,
really?
Interview. Not so much. Can be, but that will be the only way you're very, okay, I want that, you give me that, you negotiate. But otherwise, even inside your own family, you're not always aware of how much
people make.
No. And I'm not saying we don't talk about money, but you have to be really into intimacy. And even with your friend, we're not comfortable with that.
You're not comfortable with it.
Not at all. So, and that's part of it's because of our religion.
Okay.
It's a Protestant versus
Christian?
Catholic.
Catholic.
Okay. It's really money is not something good. It's dirty.
It's considered dirty.
And Protestant, they were used to trade, deal with money. That's really originally.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay.
That's the difference. Really, it's religious things at the beginning.
Okay. So you're saying the U.S. was like more of a Protestant
Definitely.
country, and France is still, I guess, I don't know, practicing Catholic, but Catholic.
But it is Catholic.
Right.
So
okay.
really, that's where it comes from.
That's where the stems. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. I wonder also something I've noticed in the U.S. In fact, even with another American, we normally in the U.S., you're right. People ask you like, what do you do? And it's one of those first maybe 3 or 4 questions when you get to know someone. Here, I'm getting to know people and French, non-French, all over the world. And sometimes I have no idea what they do and I could go out to a whole lunch with them. It's just not as forward to talk about your profession. Is that true? Would you argue, or is that just my observation?
Yeah, I would say yes and no.
Okay.
Because no, I would say, because it's interesting what you say, because I had a student, an adult. She was British. And she moved here because her husband has a job here, and she used to be a psychologist.
Oh, yes.
And then moved here, didn't work for 2 years, and she learned French.
Okay.
And she was like, oh my God, in France, it's so annoying. People always ask you, what do you do in life? So it's interesting. She was so uncomfortable. And she said, now you know what I tell them? I'm back to studying French. And because she said in the UK, you only talk about weather.
Oh, interesting.
Like the interaction is, you will have really like, oh, it's raining or whatever.
More surface level.
Surface level.
Okay.
And she was uncomfortable because she felt like, I don't have my job anymore. I had to move in Aix-en Provence because my husband had to work here. And she was like, it
depends. Okay.
It depends. And I know also when something can be quite uncomfortable here when you're in between 2 jobs and people will say, oh, so what do you do? And you're like, I'm looking for something.
Yeah, that's challenging anywhere though.
The thing, for sure, we don't ask you, or you don't tell people you're earning
your money. Okay.
That's
salary,
for sure.
No.
But usually it can be a starter of conversation.
Interesting.
What do you do in life?
It's in life though, not
in
for
life.
work.
In life, meaning for work.
For work. Okay.
Usually, what do you do? I'm a teacher.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
But it's not what I understand what your perception is, because work is not that important. It's sort of, we have a tendency to ask people, what are you doing in life as a work? But then it's not that important.
You don't care as much
we don't care.
Okay.
And we're not... on weekends, we don't...
You don't talk about work.
We don't... So there is something... I understand work is not central. Yeah. It won't be central for most of the people.
Okay.
You don't define yourself so much
by your work.
Still, it's sort of an approach, like, what do you do in life? Meaning,
you define. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I think where I was going was that work is very tied to your identity. I think in the United States,
work is very
tied to your identity. Like it's part of
exactly
who you are, and I think people make judgments based on like what you do, somewhat. At least my perception.
I think it's different here. Plus, people now have a tendency also to do what we call reconversion professionnelle.
Okay.
Meaning, at a certain time of your life, you switch career.
Oh, that's like acceptable.
Yeah, totally. More and more. And also, we do have a lot of opportunity in France to get trained to something new. Faire des formations.
Okay.
So during your career, let's say you want to, mainly after COVID, a lot of people switch.
Careers.
They change careers. So it's quite common to do a reconversion. Then, for example, boulangerie, bakers. There are lots of new bakeries, very trendy, nice logo and stuff like that. And it's people who are totally... They don't want to work anymore in marketing or whatever.
Like corporate, yes.
Corporate.
Okay.
and they look for a job with more sense,
purpose, or more aligned to what they
aligned with
want.
where they are, and they will become
that's so cool.
a baker and make their own bread.
That's very cool. Yes, I think that you see a lot of that still in the U.S. too, after COVID too. I mean, yes. And then tell me a little bit about, let's jump for a minute to savings. Like, I thought this was an interesting fact that I didn't know.
Yeah, savings.
So we're talking about money savings, like how much of your income you save.
Okay. French people versus American people. French people are more into savings than borrowing. That's for sure. And American people are more living on credit cards.
Yes.
For example, in France, your CB, like a credit card, a Visa. First of all, we don't accept Amex. It's really hard.
Yeah.
I don't know if
don't
you
bring
have
your
an
Amex here, your American Express card. It's very, very hard to use anywhere.
Because, so we don't accept Amex a lot. It's more Visa or MasterCard. And whatever you spend on your card is what you have on your account. A bank account.
You can't take out a line of credit.
No, not at all. So you will pay at the end of the month. You spend your money, and then at the end of the month you pay. But it's not a real credit card. It's just delay in payment.
Delayed payment.
But it's your own money. You don't have. So we don't live out of credit. And for example, in last year to 2024, the income of the French average income. Savings per person was about 18% versus in the US 4%. 4%.
So that means of the total amount you earn in a year, French people save 18% of their money, and Americans save only 4%.
Exactly.
Yeah, that doesn't totally surprise me.
In Europe, German people save a lot, a little bit more than French, and then French people. We are.
Wow, you're that. Okay.
Because I would say it's. Also, because we don't have this entrepreneur spirit.
Yes,
we are more about securing and saving.
Yes,
it's part of also a culture of countryside, like we are an agriculture. Country.
Okay, yes.
And when you're agriculture, you save. We're not into spending so much. We're not into consumerism so much, although we are becoming more and more.
Yeah.
But that's a big difference. Holidays in the US, like typical Black Friday you were mentioning, but any holiday, what do? You go to the mall and you spend. That's what,
or online.
Or online. Of course, now it's online, but a day off in the US is really meant to spend. A day off in France, it's more to see the family, to have a big lunch, or to go away and have fun.
Yes.
It's not so much about spending.
Yeah, that's very interesting. In the US, even this past summer when I was there in July, they're starting to put out Halloween because they want people to buy stuff for Halloween and buy as much as you can to decorate your house or whatever.
And we're getting there also in France because I see the difference like 20 years ago or even 10 years ago. You had like Christmas, you start decorating the street and all that 2-3 weeks before. Now it's... we do moved like up. In the US. You do like Halloween, which is not something from our culture, but we do Halloween, we spend for Halloween, and then we switch on Christmas. That's quite new also.
Oh, Christmas starting earlier in France. Yeah. Okay, interesting.
And that we do Halloween, we have, it's becoming part of our culture, although it's not at all.
It's not. It's very American, I think, Halloween, but I've noticed
Anglo-Saxon.
it. Yes, Anglo-Saxon in general. Yeah, but it's interesting. I've noticed it's becoming a bigger thing. So, okay, let's jump a little bit. So, just curious. So, behaviors you notice here of Americans that they do while they're in France that makes them stand out as Americans that might maybe annoy French people.
So here, you surely know when someone is American because they have a tendency to speak very out loud. They speak out loud, loudly. Okay. Yeah.
So you can hear them before you can maybe see them.
Exactly.
Okay.
Oh, that's for sure. That's for sure. Even at museums or in the street. Yeah. Second of all, they will have also the tendency to jump in English. They don't try to speak French. And that's something I think it's bonjour can be quite magical here. At least if you greet someone, say bonjour, and then you switch.
Then you can switch.
You say, I don't speak French. But don't take it for granted that people speak English.
Yes.
Because mainly outside of Paris, again, the difference between Paris and the rest of France, people don't speak English. And in the south, I've noticed it's really not common to find people.
I agree.
You agree?
I agree. Yes.
Wow.
It's and if you do, it tends to be, I would say, the younger generation.
Younger. And even younger, I'm quite surprised.
I'm surprised that they don't speak.
We know how to write at the end.
Yes.
We learned English for several years.
Okay.
But we're not really good at expressing ourselves.
Yes.
And there's a big difference.
Yeah.
In Paris, you have more chance to find someone speaking French.
Interesting.
English. Sorry.
English, yeah.
French.
I feel like you could learn, I tell friends that visit us here in France, just learn 3 words, like bonjour, merci, like maybe another one would be like, this is more than 3 words, but parlez-vous anglais? Like
voilà, exactement.
Just something, because I've heard, like if you would just approach a French person with like, hi, blah, blah, like they're immediately, and I witnessed this myself this summer, there's obviously quite a few Americans that visit Aix in the summer, and a woman was in front of me in front of a boulangerie that's, a very French boulangerie. Like I would say it's not over marketed as something like for Americans. And she was in front of me in line and just yells at the woman behind the counter saying, hello, do you can you get me this? And she thought if she spoke louder and more slowly in English that the woman would understand her. And I was like, I was almost embarrassed for the woman behind the counter and the American woman in front of me. And I thought, this is not good. And so I was almost tempted to jump in with my bad French, but then I was like, you know what? I'm going to let her handle this.
Yeah. But I've noticed even as a French person, sometimes when I'm in a boutique or what I would say, like a supermarket, when you look for an L, you don't know where it is, you will say, excuse me, because the person is busy doing something, the guy helping there. You'll say, excuse me, and then I say bonjour, but I ask first, I say, and they don't like that. They're like, bonjour.
Yes.
I'm like, I'm going to tell you bonjour, but first I say, excuse me, because I want to
get their attention.
So that's something, bonjour is really, even as a French person,
it's very
start
interesting.
by bonjour.
So interesting. Even in that example, like you're in the supermarket, I would have just, in the United States, I would have just said, excuse me, what aisle is blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But if you don't start with bonjour, it's like saying hello and then go on with your question.
Because bonjour is really more like, it's greeting, but it's also catching up the attention. It's making a link, I think.
Oh, interesting.
A bond.
Yes.
So I was surprised when I say, excusez-moi, bonjour.
No, bonjour.
Oh, okay.
Like,
of course, bonjour. But let
Even
me
as
get
a French
to
woman.
the bonjour.
That's interesting.
Very important.
What else? Any other behaviors do you feel like are...
Behavior. So also dressing, you spot an American, like the hoodie, the sweatpants. That will be something.
Okay.
Speaking out loud. One thing. Sometimes American can be also a bit obnoxious for French people or overwhelming because they are sort of they are confident. Big smile, speak loud, and thinking they are the master of the world because it's the first economic country. So I think if you keep it low key, it's better.
It's better.
Because French people can feel a bit like overwhelmed. Like, hi.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, like,
Isabel and I talked about this on one of our episodes of how, as we were raised as Americans, and one of the things you do is like every morning at school, you pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. And I was asking you, do French children learn that at school or like their equivalent?
In the old days, they used to sing La Marseillaise, but really like 2-3 generations ago. We don't do that. And even French flag now is associated, linked to the extreme right wing politically. So I don't say... When you see a French flag is only for City Hall,
yes.
And that's it. And you don't have a French flag in your garden.
You would never put a French flag like on your house or your... that would not be.
And usually when that happens, it's because people are showing off the nationalist, being extreme right.
Okay.
Mostly. I'm not saying everything everyone, but I remember when I first went to the US, I was 17.
Okay.
And I even bought an American flag because the American flag was something
it's everywhere.
Wow. Yeah. And in France, no. I never owned an American
You've
French
never
flag.
A French flag? Wow,
Yeah,
that's very
but in the
interesting.
US, I had mine. I was like put on the wall of my room.
So maybe one precaution is don't be like think the US is like the only and the best country in the entire world. Okay.
Because also French people, as we were sort of a nation and quite, we still feel we have some importance also.
Yes.
On the international scene, we're not the same as before, but so it can be touchy.
Yeah,
like, don't
interesting.
make French people feel what they are.
Inferior
really,
or something.
Exactly.
Okay, no, that's a good one. Okay, so anything else? I think we talked a little bit about this, but if you're traveling to France or you're moving to France, how do you make sure you kind of assimilate or don't annoy anyone, or just that the French actually accept you being in their country?
Yeah, I think first try to speak the
French.
language.
Yeah,
very important. That really makes a difference.
Yes, okay.
Speak French. I know it's hard. American people, you're not used to for foreign language.
Yes.
You don't need to. That's the point. You really don't need to speak another language. But that
makes
will
a difference.
makes a difference. Then be a bit low-key. Try to about closing everything we mentioned.
Talked about. Okay.
Mm-mm.
And you also kind of mentioned, I think when we were talking about like show an appreciation for like food, wine.
Definitely.
Like, how would you recommend doing that?
It is so important for us. You will notice, I don't know if you've noticed,
Yes,
but
I'm sure.
French people at lunchtime or having dinner or whenever they are around food, and it's the same for Italian people, I've noticed. We talk about food. We're eating. We love to talk about food.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I've noticed, like, even lunch at work, when I used to work in companies, we talk about it's very important. So if you show appreciation to food, and usually it's not hard
to do
because it is still quite good. It's good, and we pay attention. And the young generation is really into food.
Yeah,
also.
they are too.
Oh yeah, and into cooking.
Oh, it's great.
Chef chef becomes something very important, and so food is quite central.
Okay.
So if you show appreciation in that, if you're looking for the good restaurant, if you have a chance to be invited in a French family. Food is so important to us. Then, if you show appreciation to wine and food,
you're good
because it's connector.
Yeah. So you kind of the wine, like we see people enjoying at lunches here, which is less and less common, I would say, in the US,
even
but less
here,
common in France.
In France
now.
also.
Okay.
We use before we used to have a. Lunch with wine, and but now when you work, you don't drink.
You don't drink it during.
We drink less and less.
Okay, interesting. But the wine at a lunch would be to pair with the food.
Oh, definitely.
Correct. Okay, it's not just like
and really you need to know what color of wine to go with. What it's very important. It's a culture.
It's the culture.
So if you know a little bit of that, or at least if you appreciate, that's
or ask questions. I always find they're open to talking about.
They will be always happy to talk about food and wine.
Very, very cool. And I think something else we were talking about, if you are going to move here, you probably don't need to do this if you're just visiting, but there's so many good books. So maybe you can talk to us a little bit about one you like.
There is one. So for those who are watching, it's called the Bonjour effect. So as I mentioned, it's really important to approach people to get a first connection with this bonjour, because it's more than a greeting. It's really a way of interaction, connecting. So that's a good book, The Bonjour Effect. And
then I have two that I read when I first moved here called Demystifying the French, How to Love Them and Make Them Love You. And then also Contraire, Figuring Out the French. So these are just, I'll put these both or all three in the show notes. I think it's good to get an understanding of some of our conversation, like just cultural perceptions, differences. I think sometimes people visit and they perceive the French as like rude, or maybe like they're arrogant and the Americans are nice, or I'm curious, like I think these books help me understand it better, but maybe you could talk about like that perception as well.
Yes, definitely. I think, so France is the most visited country in the world. The first country, in 2024, we had over 100 million visitors, which is a lot. It was also the Olympics game effect, but still, we are always on the top ranking of
ranking. Yes.
And although on the other side, we are really not the most welcoming people. That's also a difference. The customer service is totally different. We're not too much into making money. So sometimes you go to a restaurant, it's 2:00, they say, no, we don't serve anymore.
Right.
Oh, one thing that always really annoys me, it can be like 11:30, all the table at the terrace are empty. You want to have a coffee, just a quick coffee. They say, no, we are setting up the table for the lunch. Lunch is not before 12:30, 1:00. So you have 1 hour with all those terraces. Have you noticed
yes,
that?
I've noticed that. And you can't even sit there for an hour.
You cannot sit up. You cannot eat yet, and you cannot have your coffee.
No.
So we're not as strive by...
the customer isn't always right, and they're not always put first, right?
Not at all.
That's
not at
a
all.
big difference.
So that can be also quite striking for an American who are so... The customer is the king over there.
Yes.
Here, not at all.
Yeah.
And in the South, also everywhere in France.
Yeah, everywhere in France.
So they be ready not to be so welcome, and it's part of the deal to be a bit... people can be rude, but don't take it against you. It's not personal. It's the way we are. Way it's like that.
And it's not like they're just treating you that way. They're treating
the
each
French
other,
people.
everyone. So don't take it personally.
No, do not take it personally. That's for sure.
And then one other kind of thing, I just wanted to touch a little bit about any kind of like, you've lived in multiple different places. What's your perception? Like, what do you appreciate? Like the number one thing you appreciate most about the US and the number one thing you appreciate most about France?
US, the enthusiasm, the positive thinking, the self-confidence, the way the child are raised in the way of building self-confidence. You're able to.
Yes.
That's for sure.
Okay.
France, quality of life, food, enjoying... One thing struck me in the US, I was one of the rare person in Central Park. I used to go to Central Park just to relax, read my book, look at the tree.
Oh, wonderful.
Central Park, and I'm not talking about LA.
Yeah.
Central Park, you go there to run, to do something, to be useful. To be doing something.
Yes.
I like this part of France of quality of life.
Yes,
I must say,
sure.
enjoy. And in the US, the enthusiasm, positive.
It's so interesting.
You do stuff. You don't. Yeah. We are too in our. We are very much
in your head.
In our head, conceptual. Also, with the words, we can spend hours talking about this sentence. The words.
Really?
Oh yeah, we are so much in. Even working, American. Very pragmatic, efficiency. Yes. We have a goal, we go.
Yes.
France, we will stop to think and fight about words, where you write something.
Yes, interesting. Oh, good and bad, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Exactly. Like I like to take the best of both.
Exactly, and that's the good thing when you live abroad. First, you open your mind to new stuff, and then you. Picking the best of each culture, and it's fantastic.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
No, I love that too. Okay, I think we're going to wrap up here, but I just wanted Christine to talk a little bit about her business in case anyone is listening, thinking of moving to France. Christine, why don't you just tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yes, company, because one thing I like the most is to welcome people, help them to settle here. And now I do help expatriate when they're super exciting, and it's really hard because you don't know. And school, bank account, your Wi-Fi, visa, driving license, doctor's appointment, everything is different. Plus, in France, that's a big difference. Red tape.
Yes, red tape.
Very overwhelming.
Yes, it's
and when you call someone...
it could take... It's very challenging.
Yeah, very, very challenging.
And it adds another layer.
And even for French people.
Yeah, even for French people. But
even if you speak French. Really challenging.
It adds another layer if you don't speak French well. And so we've been so appreciative of Christine helping with anything you need for our family. She's been really our key to learning French. And I ask her random questions about the post office or a doctor doctor, or et cetera, et cetera.
Writing
me, I didn't know how to write a check in French. So anyways, just Christine is an awesome resource, and she is so caring and would love to help any expatriates that are moving here. So I will happily put your notes in our show notes as well. And I think we will wrap on that. So thank you, Christine, for
Thank you, Kim.
coming
Thank you
on.
very
Yes,
much. I
we're
really
so
appreciate
happy.
it. Merci beaucoup.
Yes, merci à vous.
Au revoir.